One piece of advice that I would give seniors is to tell them to not rely completely on the Davidson name and really develop other skills. One skill I think is really important to develop is networking. I know that that's how I found my job, was reaching out and setting up coffee with someone who knew about a job, and it ended up me getting hired for my position. So I think sometimes people rely on the internet sites to find all the jobs, but those don't have all the jobs that are out there, and really some of the better jobs are the ones that you find through contacts and networking.
It's okay if you don't know what you want to do for the rest of your life. Don't freak out about it. Just start small, take some assessment tests, figure out what you're good at and how that applies to the job market, and start exploring some careers.
I recommend you read a book called From College to Career by Lindsay Pollock. It has 90 tips on how to use your time wisely here on campus and as a recent graduate in order to find a job and find something that you love doing. My most useful tip from that book is about informational interviewing, and it's basically going and talking to as many people as possible, friends, family friends, alumni, and having a short info session about what they do, and you can narrow down likes and dislikes from there.
Take initiative to find experience in the field in which you're interested in. For example, my roommate, her senior year, she knew she wanted to be a doctor and had taken all the right classes, but she found a doctor that she was able to shadow at Carolinas Medical Center in Charlotte, and she took that initiative to get that experience, and is something that she could put on her resume and to gain knowledge of the field.
So I went into investment banking when I graduated from Davidson, and the thing that I found most helpful was using the career services office to get in touch with people in Charlotte who were in the investment banking world. And they had people come up and critique your resume before you even interviewed, which was really helpful and really helped me get my foot in the door.
That's perfect.
Okay.
Great.
What I think you'll hear over and over again is that networking is one of the key ways you get a job. And I'm absolutely a believer in that. But what I'd say is, it's not always in the way you think that it's going to get you a job. You're going to have hopefully 5, 10, 20 conversations, whatever it may be, over the next couple months as you start to think about where your career interests might lie, here and in the future. And I think from my experience, as you have those, a lot of it feels kind of fruitless because people are excited to talk to you, and they might even be in a job or a company or an industry you might find attractive. But especially right now, a lot of them are going to say, I don't know if I have any ideas, or we don't have anything right now. And some of them might get you down the right path, and probably one of those people you talk to might ultimately lead to the job you get or the opportunity you take. And what's amazed me is, you feel like it's fruitless the whole time when the people say, I don't have an idea, or let's keep on thinking about it, and maybe I'll get back to you. But in my experience, every single conversation you have in some way will come back around, or at least a lot of them will. Everyone enjoys the networking aspect, so take advantage of it. People are gonna want to talk to you, whether it's your Davidson connections or people from your hometown. Be creative in terms of the folks you might want to talk with, and it might not even be folks that you know well, but maybe it's your dad knew this guy you used to work with. It's now the CEO of X company or vice president of something, and shoot them an email and introduce yourself. People are always excited, I think, to talk about themselves and their experiences, and hopefully to try to help you. My view, especially the first few years out of college, is that this is absolutely the time where you can experiment what your different career passions might be in probably the lowest risk time that you'll ever have. So you can go out and not make as much money maybe, or go live in a random place, or make the moves that you might not make 5 or 10 years down the road. And as a result, it's an opportunity to say, what, I think I might want to be in sports marketing or in publishing or a teacher, whatever it may be. One of the other things I think about as you go through your networking and thinking about what you want to do over the next couple of years is, as you start to get a better sense of what it is, more of the crystallized vision, tell people what that is. I found as I started doing networking, especially over these last few months, when I started thinking about my next job, a lot of times I go into conversations and just want to talk. And that's certainly okay. But I found that the most helpful conversations were as I went and started to figure out more what I wanted to do and where my goals were. I'd tell people, listen, for me it was I'd love to go work for the CEO of a medium-sized company and kind of be their personal strategy assistant. I don't know if that's possible, but I think that'd be a really cool opportunity. And by the way, there are some other things I'd be excited about if that isn't in the cards. The guy that ended up helping me get the job, he heard that. He had a friend of his who was the CEO of a company here in Charlotte, made the connection, and that's what I'm doing. And I found that people reacted really well to hearing, all right, what do you want to do? And that helps them think about how they can help you versus kind of the generic open-ended conversations where it's probably going to be more of a conversation than a direct kind of to-dos that result from it. And I think one of the things that, whether it's David's people or anywhere else, we're often, I think, bashful, or we don't want to, we're afraid to say exactly what we want to go do. It might be humility or whatever. But people, in my experience, want to hear that, especially as you get that better defined vision. So take advantage of that. And at the start, as you have more of the general conversations, I think use those people to help build that vision. And I think each conversation can be a building block on the one before. So you take a little bit of what you learned from talking to the first person, you have a little bit of a different conversation with the second person, and it just builds from there. And that's why I'm such a big believer in having a lot of different networking opportunities, because I think it helps you build that vision as much as making the connections for the jobs.
Oh, hello. Thanks for coming in. My advice to you when you enter the real world, keep reading your Davidson Journal, go to all of the alumni events in your local area, or if you're really smart, just stay here forever.
What's the most important thing you're supposed to do your senior year? Make your senior class gift.